Hey there! Before we start this story, take a second to like this video and subscribe to the channel. It was a cold Monday morning in New York City. The subway station was filled with the usual noise, people rushing, footsteps echoing, the sound of train doors closing. Everyone looked tired, stressed, lost in their phones or their thoughts. Among them was a young woman named Evelyn. Her face looked as blank as the walls around her. She had lost her job a week ago, and with it, her confidence. Her mornings were gray, her days heavy. She sat by the window staring at her reflection in the glass, wondering how everything had fallen apart so fast. And then, out of nowhere, a little boy sitting across from her caught her eye. He couldn't have been older than 5. Holding a small toy car and swinging his legs happily, he looked right at Evelyn and smiled. It was a simple, innocent smile, one that didn't ask for anything in return. At first, she didn't react, but something about that smile broke through the fog in her heart. Her lips trembled slightly, and then, for the first time in weeks, she smiled back. It was small, but real, and in that one moment, the world didn't seem so heavy anymore. When Evelyn got off the train, she felt lighter. She stopped by her favorite cafe, a place she hadn't visited since she lost her job. The barista looked exhausted, his eyes red from lack of sleep. When he handed her the coffee, she smiled and said, "Hey, your coffee art is always beautiful." He blinked, surprised, and then smiled back. "Thanks," he said softly. "You just made my morning." Evelyn left a little extra tip, not much, but enough to say you matter. That barista carried her smile with him for the rest of the day. Later that afternoon, a homeless man walked into the shop asking for water. Without hesitation, the barista gave him a muffin, too. "On the house," he said with a grin. The man's face brightened. "God bless you," he whispered. That man, whose name was Marcus, sat on a park bench to eat. A young man nearby named Ryan noticed him smiling. Ryan had been sitting alone, scrolling endlessly on his phone, feeling empty. He had just moved to the city, no friends, no purpose. But when he saw Marcus's joy over something so small, it stirred something in him. He stood up, walked across the street, and helped an elderly lady carry her groceries. The woman, Mrs. Thompson, smiled wide and said, "Thank you, young man. You're very kind." He shrugged. "Just trying to help." But deep down, that moment made him feel alive again. Later that evening, rain began to fall. Mrs. Thompson stood at the bus stop holding an umbrella. Beside her was a teenage girl shivering in the cold without one. Without thinking twice, she tilted her umbrella to cover them both. The girl looked up, shocked, then smiled. "Thank you so much," she said. Mrs. Thompson chuckled softly. "Someone helped me today, too. Guess it's my turn." That girl's name was Mia. She was heading to a dance audition, one she'd been nervous about for weeks. Because of that simple act of kindness, she arrived calm, confident, and dry. She danced her heart out that day and nailed her performance. When she got home, she told her mom, "I think my day went well because of one kind lady." And that's how it kept spreading. From one smile to another. From one heart to countless others. Days passed, and none of them knew they were all connected. Connected by one simple smile on a subway train. That tiny moment of light had created a chain reaction across the city. Meanwhile, Evelyn began to feel like herself again. She started smiling more, even when she didn't feel like it. She began applying for new jobs, sending her portfolio around. And one day, she got a call for an interview at a small design studio. When she walked in, nervous but hopeful, the interviewer said, "You seem like such a positive person. We like that here." She smiled, and for the first time in months, she felt proud. A week later, she got the job. On her first morning at work, she stopped by that same coffee shop for a latte. When she looked up at the counter, she froze. It was the same barista who'd made her coffee weeks ago. They both recognized each other instantly. They smiled, laughed, and shared that unspoken connection. A silent thank you for changing each other's days without even realizing it. Weeks went by, and one weekend, Evelyn decided to volunteer at a local art class. There she met a guy who was helping organize supplies. Ryan, the same young man who had helped Mrs. Thompson that day. As they talked, Ryan told her about how he'd been inspired by a small act of kindness he'd witnessed weeks ago. A homeless man being treated with respect. Evelyn's eyes widened. She whispered, "That might have been connected to me." They both paused, and then laughed. It felt like fate, but maybe it was just kindness doing what it always does, connecting hearts that were never meant to meet otherwise. As they grew closer, both Evelyn and Ryan realized how different their lives had become. all because of one smile that had set everything in motion. That's the thing about kindness, you never know how far it travels. A smile isn't just a small expression. It's a ripple that moves through people, unseen but powerful. It can make someone's day better. It can change their choices. It can even change their life. So next time you're walking down the street, sitting in a cafe or waiting at a bus stop, don't hold back that smile. You never know who needs it. Maybe it's someone who's lost hope. Maybe it's someone standing on the edge of giving up. And your smile could be the thing that brings them back. Evelyn's story reminds us that the smallest acts can have the biggest impact. She didn't win the lottery. She didn't find magic. She just smiled, and that smile changed her entire life, and many others along the way.